TPR. Anyway, relevant conversation for this latest episode of Hamnawa. This is 195, the July playlist. बड़ा हमने अच्छा कोऑर्डिनेट किया इस दफा कि प्लेलिस्ट भी वेल इन टाइम रेडी भी हो गई, शेयर भी हो गई, एपिसोड भी आ रही है.
अब देखो मतलब प्लेलिस्ट आपसे और भी पहले से शेयर हो गई, यानी कि आप
हाँ
पहले से सुन ले. हाँ
हाँ
देखो
हाँ तो
मैं अपना
मोस्ट प्रिपेयर्ड आई थिंक. इसके बाद नहीं, एक दफा ही सही है बस. इसके बाद वी डोंट
अब तो डाउन हिल ही है. हाँ, अब ओनली डाउन हिल फ्रॉम हियर. यार प्रॉब्लम ये है कि लोग बहुत गाने निकाल रहे हैं, बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है. इट्स एक्चुअली because I think it's becoming impossible to listen to everything as a one person
I think you need
stuff, so we know.
एक तो वैसे तो you hired somebody, पहली बात तो already it's getting real. But दूसरी बात ये है कि I think you need to pull back on the listening expectations. Yeah, I will listen to every song that comes out. At one point when we started talking about this, you said there were 300 artists that you were tracking. I think there are more now. There should be more.
I'm at 400 now.
Wow, he's already at 400. Yeah.
और मतलब रोज को 2-3 नए आते हैं.
Yeah.
हाँ.
तो नहीं हो सकता. अगर आपको गाना नहीं आया इस प्लेलिस्ट पे, it's not your fault. It's not even our fault. It's nobody's fault. It's Matt's. क्योंकि कैसे करोगे तुम?
Because you're seeing the number of songs in every playlist go up also, right? Like when I started this 2 years ago, I was barely making like 10 or 20.
Yeah, it was under 20.
But now it's like this one had 40, I think.
Yeah.
And could easily have been 10 more if we wanted. It's a lot. And so I think
forced ना तुम्हें वो करनी पड़ेगी. If I were to give advice unwanted, which I always do, you'll have to, I don't know if that'll work. You have to do both things. एक तो limit. Do you think there's a point where there's too many songs in the playlist for it to make sense?
Maybe. I mean, maybe not. If you look at it as a kind of reading exercise, then yes. If you look at it as somebody's going to it every month and playing it, मतलब तो Spotify की playlist में इतने गाने होते हैं. Right.
But like, is there like a figure? Like, what if it's like 50 songs? That's still ठीक है.
I'm okay with that. I think it's a question of at what point do you start imposing like a strict bar of does it make the cut or not? Right? Because I think this is not an exhaustive list, by the way. Like for me, I go through, okay, like does the song make it? Does the song not make it? And this one, there's a lot of hard, but I'm just like, maybe, but maybe not. Is this notable enough? Like you have kind of, I have my own sort of criteria by which I do it. And I think that becomes a stronger rule.
Yeah.
As more songs come out, I guess that's really the only way to think about it. And I think this is why there's room for more people doing this sort of work, because more taste profiles will appear. Like it's very subjective.
Yeah.
Somebody asked this question also, which is like, are all these songs
recently
that you like?
Yeah.
And I told him the same thing, which is I won't go back and listen to all of these songs.
Yeah.
But there's no songs that I dislike that are on it.
That's what being who I am, I fixated on that. अगर आपको गाना नहीं है ना तो Zira hates you. That's the message we're sending.
Ali is like, ये बंदूक मैं इस तरफ कर दूँ. नहीं, it's more so. I think it used to be more songs that I was going back to over and over, but now it's not that. I think now it's also possible. Like, is this notable in some way?
Yeah. And matlab, it's not even beach mein there was a phase where I don't know if you were going through that phase or if the release wave was going through that phase. There was a lot of hip hop, like भर के hip hop आ रहा था, to the point where people you said were reaching out to you कि भाई ये क्या हो गया, ये तो hip hop only हो गया वगैरह वगैरह. In this playlist, lots of genres. Is that something that Zirag is trying to do? Or is that just the songs that came out?
I don't think it's something that I'm trying to do, but it's probably a mix of both what I'm listening to and what is being released. अच्छा, जैसे ये जो पूरा rappers वाला scene है ना, जो Karachi वाले especially.
Yeah.
So what they do is their business is very different. And I think this is relevant for most of our discussion. And their business is YouTube, right? Not Spotify. The YouTube business works is that you don't really make as much money from old videos. You only make money from new videos. So you have to keep putting out a new video every few days. वो करने के लिए you have to make songs that are quick, come out, land, and then their half-life is very low.
Right.
Whereas if your business on Spotify, your half-life matters. And your back catalog matters.
Right.
Because every time you have a hit, people will go through your back catalog. Whereas on YouTube, that doesn't happen as much. So on YouTube, the business is, can we write, like, basically I think about it as these people are writing poems with soundtracks. And the soundtrack doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
Right? मतलब आते हैं, आप गाना सुनते हैं, 2-3 बार सुनते हैं, then you're over it, then you go to the next one. And so they're building lots of subscribers. They get a video, they get a peak, and then it fades out. Those business mein, there's not a lot of kind of variety that you get put out. Some people put out a lot of variety, but some of the kind of younger guys, I think they put out a bunch of songs. If the following ban rahi hai, it actually helps them to stick to a single brand as opposed to change their sound every time.
Right.
Whereas if you are like a indie kind of singer-songwriter, pop/rock musician, in those cases, you are incentivized to change your sound because you want to show your variety and so forth. So usme ye hota, I think, like people that I discovered in that phase where there was a lot of hip hop, where it was like lots of new people, unke naye style hai. Ab unka naya gana aata hai, it's in that same vein.
Right.
And so if it's really good, I'll put it in. But otherwise, it's not necessarily something that if, like, if, for example, you've been listening to these playlists for like a year. In those cases, it won't reveal something new to you unless you really like them.
Yeah.
So for me, then what I tend to do is that I like find new people that I haven't heard before that I will pull in, as opposed to old people that are doing the same style again and again, which is not to say that it's bad, but it's just maybe, non-notable for this purpose.
Because also these songs are not, being listened to in a vacuum. Like if you're listening to such a big variety and ek side say there's like this established sort of sound and theme and, subject matter coming out, and then something new comes out. So I think for the purposes of the playlist, it would make sense कि हाँ जी ये तो हम कर चुके हैं showcase. Let's bring the new thing in that perhaps हमने इतना नहीं दिखाया पहले, or it is.
And part of the goal of the playlist is to showcase the kind of variety of the type of things that are being produced. And so what I start doing is I start applying a higher bar to famous people. Like for me, like people that already have a really large audience don't need this as a discovery source. So someone that is coming that has like 1,000 listeners, who has the same quality of song than someone that has 1 million listeners, the one with 1,000 listeners should get in more, right? Because they need a bigger discovery surface. So that's the kind of basic set of rules I apply.
Speaking of, speaking of jaldi गाना आना and then peaks वगैरह, we can do a quick discussion on Aleem RK's latest release, where I think the standout line in that song, so the song is about him being tired of fame, not being into the whole idea of fame, and जिसमें एक वो होता है कि 7 महीने से बस एक ही आवाज है, गाना फेंक, हाइप मर रही है तेरी. And I was like, oh, kya baat kar di inhone, acha, matlab it's a real thing. And it's the whole song is about, I don't want to be famous and I'm not doing it for the fame. And December mein maine 5 shows mana kar diye and stuff like that. I have listened to only एक गाना by Aleem RK इससे पहले वाला, which was the super famous वाला, and then this song came out. You've probably listened to more. Does this sentiment match his previous work also, or did he not have these problems pehle?
I think it fits. Like it basically, I think you have to see this all in the lens of unhappy men, right? Unhappy young men. ये पूरा rap circle आप इस तरह समझ सकते हैं. I don't mean this as a slight.
Of course. It's we've all been.
Life sucks for a lot of these people. Or let's put it this way: circumstances are tough for many people in these situations. अच्छा, तो उसमें the thing that I like about this one is अब तो ये मतलब character arc बन रही है ना कि वो गाना hit हो गया, India में पागल हो गया, और अभी now he is sort of responding after many months. It's interesting to me that the storyline here is almost as if answering to other people that are in to the audience. He's talking to other musicians or other people in the circle, being like, अब ये तो करना पड़ेगा,
industry वाले.
And I find this happens a lot where most people are answering other industry wale. And this is true of all genres, not just of hip hop, right? I think this is the kind of insular circle where they like look at feedback from like other people as opposed to talking directly to their audience. In hip hop, I think it's interesting because they are so direct about it. It actually creates this like character arc that you want to follow. Just like, you picked up on this line. So for me, I think like in a way it's insular कि आप audience बात करें ना आप आपस में क्यों बात कर रहे हैं right but in a way also that's what creates the myth of these guys
हाँ आपस में बात करने का my big issue with आपस में बात करना is also how every rapper most of their songs are talking about how other rappers want them to feature on their work या पहले इज्जत नहीं दी थी and now अब वो they're like they know कि मैं तो इतना अच्छा हूँ but अब मेरे पास time नहीं है for them and this is like from the biggest to the lowest the newest sub and I'm like और क्या हो रहा है जिंदगी में
yeah, every time I get people to listen to Urdu rappers who don't listen to them, they're like, why is every song the same thing?
Yeah, there's a strong vibe.
And so there's a vibe. I guess if you're into it, you get it, like you follow and you see the kind of similarities and the connections. But I think it's like it's a reality show, right?
A bit,
it's what it is, which is कि मतलब जब उनके फड्डे होते हैं आपस में या they're referencing something, you're like अच्छा ये वहाँ से आया है, and the more deep you get into that world, the more rewarding it is to get those little hits of dopamine when you're listening to every song. So I think that's part of the myth of it, and that's part of the allure. But that also means that you have to get into it. So you have to have like one hit song. उससे फिर आपको समझ आती है, but then you start discovering, then you go into all the reaction videos.
Right.
Have you seen this guy called जिसका channel है Niazi Entertainment?
I think you've told me about this before. Yeah.
I really enjoy it because basically you're watching this guy really enjoy these songs, and even if you're not looking for the opinions, it's just the fact that you realize how deep this goes in terms of fandom. Or he can tell you that ये बंदा like इसका ये tag है, इस बंदे का ये tag है, इसका फटा नहीं था, that sort of thing.
As somebody in a previous recent podcast of mine related a story of a celebrity who asked him on a parody video, क्या तू beef चाहता है? And I was like, what a jumla. what an epic collection of words.
I think that is hip hop song ready to be written.
Yeah,
that's great.
But hip hop, the other thing on hip hop, Velo. I think I perhaps personally was not very bullish on Velo. Lekin the two songs of Velo that are in this, I listen to a lot. Both the Stunners wala gana and HYDR. So hip hop se going into hip hop. Do the Stunners do these songs a lot? Is tarah ki? I don't think so. I don't think this is their vibe.
ऐसा commercial type के उन्होंने एक पेप्सी वाला था शायद कोई Why Not मेरी जान जो था थोड़ा सा I guess but it wasn't as kind of dancey maybe. So our friends at Lost Ox, which is an Instagram channel that also does music reviews.
Yes.
They wrote this piece on the Stunners, which was like, this is a low effort Stunner song. Which is like, their stuff is so good. This one feels like big, commercial but nikal do. It's kind of how I read it. And I heard it back a bunch being like, acha, chalo, maybe like, can I read them with this feedback? My problem is I really like this song.
Yeah.
Like I listened to it a bunch.
Yeah.
And I get that it's not like cutting. I get that there's no line ko bahut wo nahi hai.
Yeah.
Amazing, but the writing is like still,
it's
if
nice,
you compare to average pop song, it's nice. Yeah, it's like not particularly poetic, but it's nice. It's unique in their own way. Like, Guru Tera Jaiz hai, that sort of thing is not used commonly in.
Yes.
That sort of.
गरिश्ते नहीं सीधा बरसते ये भी एक था उसमें and I think because one issue that I have begun to have with a lot of Karachi rap is heavy focus on leaning towards the shairana part of things and serious and dark and chalo theek hai uski apni jagah hai but more that it seems like it's a poem jiske piche music laga diya rather than something that was written with intent to be a song, and this does not have that at all.
In fact, I think I can make the argument that at least Anjum is not even rapping, like he's singing.
Yeah.
Like you can imagine that if this tune was sung by Hassan Reem in his voice, that we would not say ye rap. So he's actually kind of like singing it basically. It's like the whole thing is like him doing the hook in his other song.
Yeah.
I really like it.
It's
I don't
good.
think there's.
It's good.
I think it's one of their kind of the ones that you go back to a bunch. उनके कुछ गाने होते हैं ना जिसमें आप जाके सुनते हैं ये गुमान वगैरह देते थे. I feel like it's kind of there. And I don't mind them putting out their like soft songs for the commercial stuff. Because why not, right? क्योंकि वो ये two tone type चीजें नहीं चलेंगी ना, two tone ये तो नहीं चलेगा वेलो पे और कोक पे. So in a way, I like that kind of harder material is left for the hardcore people who are directly subscribed to them. But for everybody else, they're putting out like easy stuff that's easy to listen to, and they get kind of good cash out of it. I like it. And again, speaking back to the whole business argument, that their low half-life songs are on YouTube, and that their high half-life songs are on these commercial things makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right? From a business standpoint, this is like the exact way you would run their business if you had both capabilities.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if they kept putting out like hardcore gaane, Pakistan mein a lot of music revenue and artist revenue income comes from brand deals and so on. None of them was work. Pepsi वाले तो नहीं देंगे ना आपको गालियों वाले गानों के वो क्या नाम है पैसे, if they think that that's all you can do. So there's also a business case for it, and even just as an artist, I mean, it's good to make like a fun thing sometimes. Hopefully, उनकी life में अब constant struggle नहीं है, तो maybe they can think about like fun vibes also. Hopefully. And Heather गाना भी, Heather, who I found out way late in the game, not अभी, but like उसके पिछले गाने के बाद कि मोमिना का भाई ये तो, and I was like, अच्छा, musical family. But this गाना was also quite nice. I really like the video. उस video में Dishan Parvez, Studio Khan, I think, lots of crazy like visual effects, like really high level. I think they did much of Velo, if not all of it. Curious things, the video stuck with me more, like the visual effects, and then the girl in the video who plays the romantic interest. I think it has to be on purpose, but in some shots she looks exactly like Gal Gadot. Like it has to be, because I was like, ये कैसे हो सकता है कि बस इत्तेफाकन देखें ये ऐसी लग रही है. She looks so much like her. Unrelated to the song, and this is a music podcast.
नहीं वीडियो काउंट्स. हम मतलब ये कि पूरी टेक इंडस्ट्री की लिबर्टेरियन फीलिंग्स की बात कर चुके हैं, तो ये तो गाने में जो दूसरा एक्टर है उसका तो बनता है. प्लीज, we are now positively on topic.
I think this is Heather के ना एक वो पेप्सी वाला गाना था. I like that a lot. Also जिसमें रोजियो भी था and I'm a Big भी थी. And background में जवाद बशीर भी था. Who was not in the video, I feel.
Jawad Bashir was in that song. Jawad Bashir, Dr. Billah, Jawad Bashir.
No. Javed Bashir? Mikhal Hassan, ex-Mikhal Hassan.
Oh, Javed Bashir.
Javed Bashir. Like Dr. or Billah, a name I haven't heard in so long.
And the person that produced that song was the person who did Coastal with Umran Shafiq, Taha Malik.
Oh, अच्छा.
तो वो एक बड़ा लंबा कनेक्शन है हम मिलेनियल्स के लिए from early 2000s.
Which song की पेप्सी वाला?
पेप्सी वाला था ना, रोजियो और आयमा वाला.
Right. Good song. And so I associate Heather now with fun songs that I initially think I am too cool and too old and मैं तो rock सुनता था to be into, but eventually I listen to them on radio.
The thing I get about the song is that it's like maybe it's cool to hate on when you first come across it, and then you're like, no, it's really catchy, I like it.
Yeah.
It's like I've been thinking a lot about an analogy for this. Is this is like if you go to like a restaurant convention, ठीक है, और वहाँ सारे like hip आ रहे हैं आपके like hip restaurant एक Italian को like खुला, but then the guy with the world's best shawarma shop shows up, right? And it's just like, I like this a lot.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't appear cool, but why not? Like there is no reason that it shouldn't be. But I think there's like a rap bit to it also.
In this song?
In this song, wasn't it?
No, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember.
Maybe I'm confusing it. But I think the thing about this song is that it's not like progressive in any way, right? Like it doesn't, especially because Heather's work is like, I don't know it as well as like some, say for example, like Stunner's work. You can't tell if like in his own career, this is to represent something. And so if you just come across the song as is, it is kind of, it does not push the needle necessarily in terms of sound or in terms of lyrics one way or another, which is why it could be considered like uncool in a way, right? Because usme koi aisi ko baat nahi hai karne wali. But that if you just listen to it for what it is, which is that at its core essence as a pop song, it like hits the beat.
Exactly, fully. Yeah, and वही है ना कि it doesn't have to always be, like pushing the envelope type गाना. but गाना अच्छा हमने सुन लिया बस ठीक है.
ये कोई ज़्यादा पढ़ लिख जाने का फायदा नहीं होता. Like sometimes just be.
In life, what we are learning as we get older. ज़्यादा पढ़े लिखे होने का फायदा नहीं होता. But then you're also on this album with your Slowspin persona.
Right.
On this playlist. हाँ, तो बताएं जरा आप इस गाने के बारे में.
I'm very sorry to actual Slowspin for people. I imagine when people mistake us that she gets the worst end of the deal. Where they're like, "Ab ye hai," and then she's like, "No."
She's like, "आप म्यूजिक भी करते हो और कीबोर्ड भी बनाई है आपने, क्या बात है?"
So I am sorry about that. But yes, my namesake is on this. She's great because I think she's actually we discussed Zainab Khwaja last time, right? Which is very kind of classical, but in a modern bent. And this is similar, but very different, right? Like you wouldn't put the two songs next to each other and say, it's same cheese. Right? It's just that she is, in terms of what she's doing, she's taking classical training and kind of repackaging it in a new way, which I think is really essential because most of this, in a broader sense, all of the kind of traditional knowledge of our part of the world has not been packaged in a globally fashionable and trendy way, right? And that really puts things. It kind of extends the colonial leaning of things, where you're like, "Ye log piche reh gaye, inka hai koi," right? Like, matlab iske do example ऐसे कि cricket में एक दफा देख रहा था कि like वो बात कर रहे हैं पाकिस्तानी लोग ना कि रिव्यू लेना है कि नहीं लेना, ठीक है? कमेंट्री बॉक्स में कोई उर्दू बोलता नहीं, तो उससे शादाब ने कहा कि भाई मेरा ख्याल है कि लाइन में थी कि पैड को पहले लगी, तुम देखो लाइन में थी कि नहीं, ठीक है? तो सरफराज कहते हैं हाँ मैंने देखा लाइन में थी, रिव्यू ले लेते हैं. अच्छा, तो कमेंटेटर्स को समझ नहीं आई बात की, उन्होंने कहा बस लगता है इन्होंने तुक्के में ले लिया, पता है इनको कुछ. एंड इट्स जस्ट लाइक, भाई आपको नहीं पता तो इसका ही मतलब नहीं कि वो डफर है, मतलब कुछ है आगे उधर. अच्छा, मेरी दुनिया में हम जब ये सॉफ्टवेयर करते हैं उर्दू वगैरह वाला, ठीक है, एंड इट्स जस्ट बिकॉज वी आर यूजिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ ओल्ड 90s थिंग दैट लाइक हैज बीन पैकेज्ड राइट. So people be like, हाँ ये उर्दू में तो कोई काम ही नहीं होता, like लोगों को थोड़ी को knowledge है. And it's just that all the kind of great Urdu design is like, as Abira puts, like, you know, is documenting on her Instagram, happens in these like truck adda type stores where building like truck stickers and graphic design and posters for like a part of the world that is not fashionable in the Instagram lens. और फिर आपको लगता है कि वो है ही नहीं skill set, and it's just that the skill set exists in a different mode of communication. And I think classical music and folk music is stuck in that same bucket, which is that the people that are good at it do not speak necessarily the language of communication, of globalized communication in that same way. So what Slowspin is doing is, I think, really good in that way. So this is like classical music fronted, fronting a kind of basically almost like a Western band, right? Like I think there's a harp in there. So it's like Western instrumentation, but it's not fusion music, right? Like it's not ke humko matlab Western rock gaane mein qawwali dal rahe hain. It's not that. It's not a kind of mishmash. It's very much a let's present it in its very kind of sincere, authentic form and find ornamentation which we can draw from wherever. And she's based in the US and is, catering as a result of it to a Western audience as well. So she has to make it palatable to those ears, but in a way that is now, I think, very palatable to people from other parts of the world, including South Asia, because there's no, like, it's very kind of authentically provided.
And I think the modern sound, the modern जिसे कहते हैं Western sound, not being so historically linked to the classical or traditional genres meant ke as bache are growing up and they don't have the connection with like classical, semi-classical music that perhaps their parents did. They find it harder because the music they're listening to, pop music in Pakistan, which was all modern instruments and little to no connection to the folk or classical teachings, unke liye it's easier perhaps to have ownership over this sort of packaging, where it's the classical vibe which they resonate with the vocals, and instrumentation bhi unko samajh aa rahi because that's familiar to them. So it's perhaps listening to proper classical music, like Mehdi ka gaana chala diye or whatever, might be harder for them than accepting कि हाँ जी Slowspin आई तो हमारे generation की है or something, and we can listen to this.
There's also a way of undoing gatekeeping, right? Because I think वो पुरानी classical में होते हैं कि भाई आपको पता नहीं तो आपको नहीं समझ आएगा, आपने
बहुत ज़्यादा
आपके बस की चीज नहीं. Like there's a lot of kind of old traditional art forms that are, I think, being protected by preventing new people from coming into them.
वो barriers to entry को आप the barrier to entry at some level perhaps makes sense, बट अगर आपने उसको इतना ऊंचा कर दिया कि people like छोड़ो, and you're like नहीं बस, then it becomes like a matter of like जिद ना
हिप हॉप में भी यही है ना, that's the natural reaction. Suddenly when something becomes mainstream, you're like ये क्या कर दिया इन्होंने, like ये तो हमारी चीज को इन्होंने ऐसे खोल दिया. ये तो Mastodon पे भी यही हो रहा है. Have you seen this by the way?
No.
अच्छा,
Oh,
so
right.
ये अच्छा
I vaguely remember reading about something.
अच्छा, ये कि Mastodon पहले एक थी ना, एक एंटी ट्विटर कम्युनिटी. अच्छा, ट्विटर से नाराज होकर लोग इधर आ गए. अच्छा, Mastodon पे they have these like
Twitter.
Don't हाँ, you have to say bird side.
Yeah.
You can't say Twitter. So there's like a lot of these like weird. अब ये नए लोग कहते हैं भाई क्या मतलब हम नहीं कर सकते ये, ठीक है? And then they were angry. But then so now Threads, they said we will integrate with the same protocol that Mastodon on. So like Mastodon users can be followed here and we can follow there. And just now there's like gigantic stream of people that were not on this protocol are now joining it.
Right.
So a bunch of Mastodon instances are like हम Threads वालों को आने नहीं देंगे. छोड़े open.
Because they can do that.
Open but not for you. तो उधर भी यही सीन है कि भाई हमने सोचा था कि सबके लिए होगा बट नहीं हम नहीं करेंगे.
हंगामा हो रहा है कि आई थिंक ट्विटर विल विन इन द एंड बिकॉज़ दे आर लाइक ब्रो तुम्हें जहर तो यहीं मिलेगा सही, तो कहाँ जाओगे तुम? नहीं चल रही वेबसाइट, कोई बात नहीं, यू विल वेट.
बेस्ट जहर हियर.
हाँ, बेस्ट जहर हियर. ये वो क्या नाम है, उस पे ना जाएं. व्हाट्स द थिंग, पाकिस्तानी एड्स में होता है ना, I don't know, don't fall for copies. I'm very proud.
I know what you're talking about. It's sad that I can't.
गोबरसीज जो है हमें नहीं याद रहती हैं चीजें.
जाली कॉपियों पे मत जाए.
हाँ. But there's even a more Urdu version of this. Khair, well, that's my dad to disappoint him further. What else we had? Bro, एक तो वो वाला गाना भी था, एक super heavy. Ghar, something about the Ghar. Was it Share or something? Let me open up the
Sunny Khan Durrani.
Sunny Khan Durrani. Oh my god, like that was another Megbal kind of situation for me. I was like, holy shit, bro. तुम्हारी जिंदगी में इतने मसले, तुम गाने ना लिखो. This is too serious.
I've done this joke cartoon about like how serious rap is. Versus like how funny it is. And so there's two skills, right? एक end पे फखरे आलम है और दूसरी end पे सनी खान दुरानी है.
Bro, मेरा कोई घर नहीं. I just saw. In the song, I mean, the song felt like being, lost. मसले हैं, financial maybe, perhaps, घर actual घर नहीं है ये वो. And then it's like, किसी के पास स्टूडियो है, मैं गाना रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ. Like, is this at the same level of crisis? But yeah, again, is this ऐसे काम है भाईजान का? अच्छा.
Okay. I think I don't know if I've heard a light Sunny Khan song.
Right. It's almost metal. Like metal की जो intensity होती है ना, वो उसको आपने hip hop में डाल दिया, but scene बहुत bad है. Which
is dark. And like all of these songs are really heavy. Like you can't listen to
casually.
I mean, you can't listen to that many of them in one go at the same time unless you're having like a bad day, which again speaks to the quality of the song, which is that like if you're having a good day and then you run to three of these, you're like, oh wait.
Imagine road trip पे ये गाना चल जाए. खत्म. But yeah, I mean it's a good
solid
song. I mean with that we had इतना सारा reaction to it. Clearly speaks to the the quality of the overall product.
The good thing about him is that he knows his tone and his flow really well. Like he knows his bit and he delivers in that realm quite a bit. Stunners का भी यही है कि उनको पता है कि अपना strength क्या है, वो उसमें जाते हैं. Like for example, like when Anjum sings, he's not going to hit like Atif Aslam high notes. That's not his game. And so that they know their game and that they're playing it is really actually kind of fun to watch.
Stunners का वो है, but Stunners have now gotten to the point where they don't have इस तरह के struggle music. Because they're established. उनको वो मसला हो गया जो comedians को होता है ना कि where they're very relatable क्योंकि हम तो गरीब थे and we're living in room. अब तो हम मशहूर हो गए, तब how will we be relatable? So Stunners have that victim of fame kind of situation, which they're dealing with obviously very well.
Because they need to reach their David Bowie moment. David Bowie ने पूछा कि what's it like being married to a supermodel? He goes, it's awesome.
And then he just made weird music. It's like, bro, मैं ये बनाता हूँ, ये scene है. And people were like,
अब मैं यहाँ हूँ.
Sir, जबरदस्त sir, आप space में. Yeah, what else? Surprise Ghana. What happens is I'm listening to the playlist. Pre-release मुझे copy मिल जाती है. And मैं सुन रहा हूँ. फिर गाना आता है about some guy, गाड़ी वाली लड़की. I'm like, यार कितना मजे का गाना है यार, ये तो बहुत ही अच्छा गाना है. And it's so whimsical and casual and this and that. And then Zira is like, हाँ ये तो सजाद अली के बेटे का गाना है. I'm like, अब मैं इसको बड़ा हाई लेवल पे इसको मैं जज करूंगा क्योंकि how dare he. But I still listen to it several times.
It's what great. A great song, it's right? Great. And the whole premise of it, which I don't think this requires a spoiler alert. The premise of it is कि इसको लड़की मिल गई जो गाड़ी चलाती है. Yeah. And so instead of driving her around, he's like, I get driven around. Yeah. What a great premise.
Yeah,
for a song.
I think this is great. In vibes, it's like the modern successor to Laari Adda, which I said to you also. Just as fun, just as silly, but well produced. मतलब production वगैरह proper, modern, सब कुछ सही है. But we don't get a lot of fun songs. Like this is almost like a comedy song, right? Not sincerely a comedy song, but it's supposed to be fun.
But fun, yeah. It's like a jokey. Like there's a kind of, it is in on the joke about itself.
Yeah.
अली अजमत जब वो ये बाबू भाई उसने गाया था ना गाना कोक स्टूडियो पे, तो उसके बिहाइंड द सीन में कहता है हमारे गाने में ये जो है ना रंगीलापन या फनकारियां ये चली गई हैं. And so he was saying that 10 years ago. So I think you're saying it now. Like, it's very serious. So
या तो very cool, या तो आपको बहुत cool होना पड़ता है, या आप एक 5,000 laps आते हैं आपको. It's these two are the things.
I think in a way it's driven by like kind of Instagram, right? Because Instagram पे आप या तो बहुत cool होते हैं तो then you stand out, right? या आप बहुत polished होते हैं तो आपकी वो बन जाती है कि भाई चलो हम cool नहीं हैं लेकिन हम like हमारा टाई शाई, you know? या फिर ये कि आप फिर इतने गंदा कर लेते हैं अपने आप को to stand out from everybody else. Like you go the complete opposite way. This is not the sort of thing that is like you wouldn't send this reel to somebody else, right? Like मेरी गाड़ी वाली लड़की, like it's not one of those things that becomes a kind of viral hit in that way. It's not a regression to the lowest common denominator.
Wow. नहीं सोचा भी नहीं होगा इस बच्चे ने कि ये मेरे गाने के बारे में
इतनी स्टैटिस्टिक्स में को बात करेगा. हाँ, यहीं पे कैंसिल हो जाना चाहिए. How do you, मतलब देखो ना मैं क्या किस तरह मैं गानों के बारे में, अभी I told you about a graph I made about hip hop. अब मैं ये बात कर रहा हूँ. This is I need to do some self reflection.
No, we don't let our asliyat be hidden from our analyses such as they are. मतलब हमें कुछ शर्म नहीं है. And that's the lesson for you guys.
I think the question I'm asking is कि शायद होनी चाहिए. And
what people are saying, चीख के कह रहे हैं लोग.
And not that we need to hide it, but rather that we need to change as people.
Yeah. Too late for me, I think. You, I think, still have time. But
I think you are considering I'm much younger than you, which is not actually true.
Any amount 6 months younger than me is like, bro, उसकी तो जिंदगी रहती है पूरी.
आपको दर्द नहीं होता सुबह उठ के?
But great song. Let me find his name. Khubi
Ali. Huh?
That's okay. That's a
great song. Highly recommended.
Great song by Gaari Waali is the name of the song. हाँ, मैं भूल गया था, मेरे दिमाग में चल रहा था एक कौन सा गाना है. Standout song of this playlist, which I've listened to the most, is Bijli by Mehdi Maloof. And I was like, Mehdi Maloof also एक whimsical एक character थे मेरे दिमाग में. उनके indie songs आते थे, दो ही रस्ते हैं, ये वो वगैरह वगैरह. People like Amar Naqvi, would retweet and say, क्या बात है, बड़ा hip cool boy. Bijli is like, I don't know if I'm just seeing these layers, but there seem to be layers of Pakistan ke halat and the future and the past, and also like सब कुछ चल रहा है इसके अंदर. The production seems much more layered also than previous indie hits. How did you feel about this? Was this surprising that Mehdi Maloof did this?
It's not surprising because Mehdi put out his previous song was also layered production like this. उसका Mehdi का पिछला गाना कौन सा था? I'm just looking it up. Mehdi का पिछला गाना था मेरा दोस्त परेशान है.
अच्छा. I think
remember this. उसमें भी ये work of Farid वगैरह. I think workers on this one also. But they're like Mehdi is no longer doing this kind of indie like I'm on a ukulele or I'm on a guitar. Like I think he's working with other kind of electronic producers as well, which gives him the layering. This one is interesting because that comes with kind of darker lyrics as well. And darker lyrics is like मैं कितनी दफा इस्तेमाल कर चुका हूँ this podcast में, but it's very kind of, it's pointed. It is pointing at specific instances. Bijli, like the title of the song is interesting because it is like Bijli both in a kind of thunderstorm sense, but also in a type sense. And so it's very kind of topical. So it's not whimsical, but it follows the same writing and singing structure that are in all Mehdi songs. Which is the lyrics are written almost like a kind of children's book. Approachable, but also like words are repeated. The lines are short. The words are pretty common. Like they're not difficult words to learn. Like you don't have to go into it and be like a chess gloves ka mujhe matlab nahi pata. So it's almost it's a kind of a children's poem. Like you could read it to a kid and they would understand most of it. And it has a ring to it, but it's darker. I think people make this comparison a lot between Mehdi and Bob Dylan. Okay. And I don't like this sort of comparisons, but I feel like for Mehdi it really fits.
Yeah. I can easily see where it's coming from.
Yeah, because it's a quirky singing style. It's not normal. It's not based on like quality of voice or like range or anything. It's very much, it is a recognizable delivery. And also the focus is on the words, even in the way the song is delivered. Like it's not Mehdi is trying to get you in on a hook. He's actually just delivering the words to you in a kind of recognizable way, and it's writing that stands out for the most part. And Bob Dylan ka bhi aata hai ye ki matlab happy funny songs down to like full dark talk about the union, state of the union, and then
sometimes also wo matlab happy sounding songs, serious subject matter, wo bhi to hota hai na.
Born in the USA. It's वो फिर हो गया था ना top charts पे आ गया था July 4th पे, तो लोगों ने कहा 32 years of people not listening to lyrics.
नहीं, वो तो one of my favorite सर वो है कि मैं Rage Against the Machine के मैं Twitter देखा मैं तो बड़ा disappointed हो गया. Politics के बारे में I was like what do you mean?
YouTube वाले भी रोते हैं कि लोग शादियों पे बन बजाते हैं.
But yeah. हमारे मोहल्ले में YouTube लोग कहते हैं आयरलैंड में ना, डबलिन में there is this like sort of like, because है तो छोटा सा मुल्क ना, मतलब it's like 5 million people, 6 million people total. डबलिन की शायद 5 लाख आबादी होगी, 6 लाख बहुत ज़्यादा कर लो. और ये बिल्डिंग जो है ना, ये बोनो की है. बस no way of verifying.
Bono, are you saying Bono डबलिन का सेठ आबिद है?
Yeah. ये
remember the thing कि पेस इमरान खान ने खरीद दिया.
अच्छा,
लाहौर में होता था.
I remember Pace
when we were young. I
remember
Pace Imran Khan
Lahore ka first.
I don't know if it was real or not, but it was like a big deal when they bought it.
Wow, what a bad decision Imran Khan. I remember बचपन में जब Pace खुला था, I was like, अच्छा लाहौर में first shopping center. Okay.
It's a cool building also.
Yeah. But खैर ये warehouse जो है ना, U2 ने album record की थी. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they do this? ये तो कंडर लग रहा है. But great song. And then also he has a job which is in local government. Mehdi.
Yeah, he's part of the उसको कहते हैं
assistant commissioner है या
PAS होता है ना, Pakistan Administrative Services. I think he's part of that. But I think so. But
so that
this is we are entering the let's give our uninformed facts section of
this
podcast.
मेरे दिमाग में that added another layer है, बता ये system को ना अंदर से जानता है ये. And then उसने सब ये मिलके गाना बनाया. Anyway, great song, Mehdi, if you're listening, of course. So yeah,
come to the podcast.
वो था connection. Mehdi is मेरे ex bandmate का junior in IBA, तो almost friends.
फिर तो आप बड़े हैं उसके.
अली भाई. All my life I have been the youngest in my class because वो 6 महीने 8 महीने का जो फर्क होता है, तो मैं तो बच्चा था. And then there came a point where the people I knew were younger than me significantly. I was like, I either don't like this or I'm like, I deserve every moment of this.
Both that, I don't know if that was harder or random people on the street calling you uncle.
हाँ I don't know. मैं पाकिस्तान इतना गया नहीं हूँ कि और शक्ल में शायद ऐसी है नहीं कि बच्चे मुझे अप्रोच करें, तो nobody's done it yet. But if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised. Because the women I know have been called auntie, and then they get offended. I mean, it makes sense. You know, 30s mein to hai. Mere saath hoga na, main rona shuru kar dun.
Somehow, I think auntie is a more offensive term.
Auntie also has connotations, na, Pakistan mein to.
Lekin ab uncle, I think, is also becoming a pointed term.
Perhaps deservedly.
You definitely deservedly. Perhaps इसमें नहीं आता.
Yeah. मैंने सोचा कि uncle listeners, subscribers offend ना हो जाए. I don't think we have any. But yeah, good. Very varied playlist इस दफा. Like,
but varied से 2 और गाने हमें डालने थे अक़दस आसिफ के, which we thought we talk about.
Yes.
So she has a new album out, of which I put 2 songs in this playlist, and the rest I'm still listening to. And even those 2 songs are crazy different. And they are crazy different not just from each other, but from everything else as well. So I thought of Aqdas Asif as this sort of like lo-fi acoustic singer-songwriter type singer. But this song is like this one kind of almost rock song. You know, it's not like rock 2000s rock, but very kind of similar scale, similar kind of melody. And then there is the kind of nicer sort of kind of poppier value judgment निकल आएगा this.
Nicer. अच्छे लोग सुनते हैं. हाँ, but yeah.
But kind of almost softer beat. Yeah. And she writes like very interesting, like kind of like Mehdi, which is that it's the lyrics are different than what you would otherwise hear, and the singing style is not classical. It's very kind of, in a way, like for lack of a better word, you would say indie, but it's not. You can't put it into this like big bucket of vocals. So it's very unique, and I think like worth listening to the like full album. And if you consider how early she is in her career and the quality of work she is putting out, like pretty ridiculous.
And also putting out like an album of music is like a that in itself is aajkal a statement. Because people just put out like I think Aleem RK doesn't have albums, right? He just has singles. Jab waqt hota hai, ek single ban jata hai. I mean, I'm sure there's other factors that go into it, but having an album which you make with the mindset this is like a defined body of work and stuff like that, much more rare these days. So, even more respectable.
An album with this quality.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's great. I mean, there's going through it. Annural Khalid is on this album. Many songs by her. I liked her song Silsile quite a bit.
Silsile is great.
Yeah, it's a great song. Kaifi Mansoub, a very Kaifi song, which I guess is good. Kaifi again is still riding the Pichla Coke Studio and then uske baad ki releases ka wave. I expect you.
Kaifi is interesting, but basically all I see is uniform appreciation of Kaifi. And I think it also comes from his like very authentic stage presence is the feeling I've gotten. That it's very like, he is appreciative of everything that he's getting, and he delivers in a very kind of, and the melody is also very, it's not trying to be anything, right? Like, like it's not trying to hit a genre. It's not trying to like be too catchy.
When I heard this song, I was like, bro, this could be like a Bollywood में गाना आराम से फिट हो जाए.
वही तो best बात है. Like you can hear this on the street coming out of any car and you'll be like, makes sense.
Which makes sense why it's popular. Fida, Bossman, Ali Parvez Mehdi, I listened to this song also quite a bit. Catchy song. Great production. Ali Parvez Mehdi, I was very impressed with him when he was on Coke Studio. I didn't know who he was. I don't know if he had done much work before that. But ये वाला गाना भी बड़ा अच्छा था. And I really
very good. And so these guys, so Bossman is Ali Parvez Mehdi's brother, Ahsan Parvez Mehdi, and Noman Javed, I think. And I think also Kamal Shafri is in it, but there's like a group of 3 or 4 people, and they have their own kind of like channel, and so they put out music.
मैंने YouTube देखा था इनका. It's sort of like one location.
So it's quite good.
And multiple artists आते रहते हैं. Yeah. I mean, we didn't get to talk about Pindi Boys ka sequel, Role.
Which I think had to be in there just on the basis of notability after Pindi Boys.
I think his video is also shot. Perhaps they shot it on the same day as Pindi 2.0, because some of the things in the same place, same hulia. I was like, it's too much continuity. कि एक साथ आप फिर वही कपड़े पहन के आ गए. खाकी का गाना मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगा था. I like Khaki also.
Khaki is very good. I like, again, consistent, but I quite enjoy him.
Dil Pukare by Uzair Jaswal and Annural Khair. मैंने ये गाना दिल्ली में मैंने पढ़ लिया किसका है. I'm like, यार Uzair Jaswal की आवाज तो बड़ी बदल गई है. I was like, oh, अच्छा no, it's Uzair. अच्छा. But yeah, great songs. Lots of music. Good problem to have because there's too much good music coming out. So Yeah, any com ke khilaf something while we wrap?
No, it's I think you and I both got recommendations for new songs we should put on it, also
We
by
did.
artists themselves, which is a great way actually for us to discover people that we are not tracking. Every now and then somebody will be like, hey, am I on your database? And sometimes people are not. So it's really good to receive that and start tracking, because that way I can make sure that I get like all the new releases. So my only ask is people keep doing that.
Yeah. Playlist तो मतलब जो बन गई लेकिन good to have as wide a net as possible, even though that just means more effort for Zirak. मैं तो कुछ नहीं करता.
अगली प्लेलिस्ट आप बनाए बॉस.
Oh god. But yeah, ठीक है. Thank you guys listening, watching. Eid Mubarak, I don't know. And we'll see you in August. Okay, bye.